Welcome to Pilates is the Answer podcast, where you can discover the power of Pilates and how it can improve every aspect of your life. We are your hosts, Stacey Jernigan
and Pearl Dahmen, and we look forward to introducing and sharing all of the questions about which Pilates is the answer. Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed the last podcast where we looked at a deeper dive into the why behind your Pilates. In addition to exploring Stacey's needs and values, we actually talked about comparing our own needs and values to each other. And the following is the rest of that conversation.
One of the other things that's really fun for me when I look at needs and values is looking at needs and values in connection with people that are in relationships. You know, that could be an intimate relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be a business relationship, it could be all of that mixed together. Because when you start to understand the needs and values of the people that you relate to, then you can honor them or sit back and go, oh, I get that, and not be frustrated, upset, or even or judgmental about it. So what I did is I went ahead and did mine.
Oh, good.
And I want to have us look at a comparison of ours together. So what's really interesting when I did this is it makes total sense that we gravitated towards each other and we want to do this podcast. Because if you start taking a look, if we just look at needs, just take a look down the list. 3 out of 4 were matched.
So similar, yeah.
So similar. Now, we may not interpret it totally the same way, but still, that idea is important to communicate. And I totally agree. I'm a talker too, obviously. That's why I want to be here. But I also care about what people say. And, you know, it kind of leads into honesty. I can remember when I was younger, you know, in relationships and, you know, sometimes, especially when it's, you know, a male-female relationship and the person doesn't tell you the truth. And I always felt like I would rather hear the truth, no matter how ugly it is, than find out later I was lied to.
Yes, for
you know,
sure.
That's crushing to me. Yes. So that whole honesty thing, and I have the same thing as you. I have to be very careful. You know, people know when they ask me to tell them what's going on, I don't pull any punches. One of my friends at work many years ago said to me, you know, a lot of people don't necessarily like what you have to say, but they know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, your word is who you are. And so for me, it's being honest with how I feel about it. And then I'm the same way to accomplish, you know, and I've created little games like I told you about the marathon. I actually have a scrapbook, 12 by 12 sheet with the road to the marathon. And each week I would put a sticker or an X or something on this road that I accomplished whatever I wanted to accomplish that week. And so I still have that. It's been...
Oh, how funny.
Yeah, it's been, you know, almost 20 years ago I did that. And I look at that and it feels so good because it shows that I accomplished... I mean, I got pictures, but it shows when I bought new shoes and when I did this and when I did that.
How funny.
Yeah.
See, I'm different in that way because I have a friend, a best friend from college, and we live, you know, across the country from each other. So in her efforts for us to be able to stay in good communication and contact with each other, she's very athletic. And so she was like, let's, you know, do a half marathon every year. And we did it for several years in a row, but I never looked forward to it. I always look forward to seeing her and being with her and spending time with her. And it was an accomplishment, but it wasn't like every time I had to put my shoes on and go training, you know, go do the training runs. So it's interesting, like, you know, stuff like that.
Exactly.
It's, you know, it's just funny.
Well, you know, I added other things to it when I came up with this idea. And actually, and this is kind of interesting too and ties in, when I was in my early 20s. I ran the Gasparilla here.
Yeah.
And then I ran road races. And so in my 20s, I would run 5Ks. And I have lots of first prizes for being the fastest one in my age group. I was really trucking it. And I always used to say, oh, someday I'm going to do a marathon. And then I got older, and then I started saying, oh, I'd like to do a marathon, but my knees and my hips, I don't want to hurt them. And I went to this workshop, self-development thing, and everybody's talking about all these athletic accomplishments, and I sat there and I thought to myself, now I could continue to say, I would love to do a marathon, but I'm afraid of hurting my hips or my knees. Or I could start saying, I'm going to do a marathon and my hips and knees are going to get stronger.
Yeah.
And so I flipped the picture.
Yeah.
I came home and told my daughter what I was going to do, and she was 18. And she's like, oh, Mom, I don't know if you should do a full marathon. Why don't you try a half? And I said, nope, I'm doing the Disney marathon. I want the Mickey Mouse medal. And she said, okay, I'll do it with you.
Oh, cool.
She had run 1 mile for cheerleading. That's the most she ever ran.
Yeah.
So we trained for 9 months.
Oh,
so it was a mother-daughter bonding.
Yeah.
There was so much more than... So the marathon was just... And it goes back to that values and all of that. There was so much more for me in that than there was running a marathon.
Yeah.
I mean, I did it, check that. That's why I don't have a need to run lots of marathons, because I don't have a need for that. All the things on the road were the needs that got filled.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. That was
Yeah.
really cool. So we have a lot of the same needs in common. So doing this helps us lift each other up and fill those needs.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I love it.
So one more step, we'll look at our values. So very similar here too, not quite as much a match, but I think we kind of have both sides of the page. And as people start listening to our podcast, they're going to see where we differ and where we're the same. But we both want to lead, we both want to teach, we want to help people know and understand and get to their whys. I think that's really, we're much the same in that way and why we click. You, the more pleasure and sensitive. So you're looking at the feelings and does it feel good and all that. Me, I like to just, I'm a like searcher, discoverer. So my teaching is fulfilled when I have had a chance to go dig in and learn and then create something to make it easier for someone else than all the digging I had to do. So that's where I have fun. So I will probably, just like I talked a lot about Maslow and the values, I like to get like the history and all the facts and go, okay, here's the summary of it all.
Yeah.
And then you can tell everybody how it feels.
There you go.
And help them feel good about it. That
Perfect.
sounds super. So what do you think?
No, I think it's interesting. I mean, because it's sometimes I feel like we're very similar, and then sometimes I feel like we're not. So it's interesting, and I love how many similarities there are. But it's also the differences are going to really benefit us, I think, with what we want to do with this podcast and just, in general, helping other people. So this is cool. I love it.
If you have an interest in exploring your needs and values, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can contact us at our website at pilatesistheanswer.com or find us on Facebook and Instagram. We hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for tuning in. For more information, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Pilates is the Answer and on the web at pilatesistheanswer.com.
Feel free to message us with questions for which you are searching the answer. We would love for you to follow our podcast, leave a kind review, and lots of stars.